Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Heir's Lair. I'm your host, Jonathan Taylor, and today's video is, as you can tell, another interview. And for this interview, I have a special guest with me. Special guest, please introduce yourself.
Well, special? Okay. Hi, my name's Eric Antonsen, and I am the author of the Mind's Eye Memories book series available on Amazon.
Okay, thank you, Eric, for introducing yourself. Hmm, I should probably put my phone down. That'll make that might make it a little bit easier. Okay, now, I've written the questions to be somewhat broad and touch upon a lot of different topics. So before we go any further, is there any particular topic you do not wish to discuss?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, biting the bullet. Let's start. So, you mentioned that you have a novel series out. I have to ask, was the actually, we spoke about this a little bit before we started recording, but the audience doesn't know. So, is the first novel you wrote the first thing, period, you ever wrote?
Well, I wrote songs before this. I was in a band, and I guess that helped springboard my would-be writing career into what it is today. So, yes, I've written a number of songs. I've recorded them, et cetera, et cetera. So, um, there was many times where you just couldn't say everything you wanted to say in a 3 minute song.
Okay.
I found, I'd be writing these 7, 10, 12 minute songs. And, the guys in the band are like, oh my God, no, it won't get any radio play. Just got to shorten it up. So it was a tad frustrating in that respect.
Okay. I might just go back to the songs in your band soon enough. So, what inspired you to create the Mind's Eye series?
I've had that question asked of me, and it just happened one day. I swear. I was at work, lunchtime, just sitting there having my lunch, and I was at my desk, and I was like, well, I just started typing into a Word document. And within the first page or two, it just came upon me that, this is what I should write about because I don't know if you've ever had this experience. The people that have read my book or that I've explained this concept to, um, almost all of them go, that happens to me too. So apparently I struck a chord. Um, and it's about, how you'll have a picture show up in your mind's eye, right? It'll
Okay.
just flash up there and it'll bring you back to a memory
Yeah.
or a place, or a smell will trigger it or whatever. They say that smell is the strongest recaller of memories. So I have these things happen to me, and it usually happens that one picture will lead to another picture and lead to another picture and to another picture, and it starts to play like a movie.
Hmm. I
So,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
so for me, um, there were times when that movie would deviate from my memory,
Okay.
and it would make me go. And there were times it only happened about once or twice in my past, but there were times where it gave me a gut feeling about an upcoming event, and I was like, oh, okay, no, I think I'm going to skip that. And those two times in my past, that gut instinct that came from this mind's eye memory was true.
Okay.
And something bad happened there. Not tragic. I'm not talking about like a mass shooting like in the United States or down wherever.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, it just poured rain, or so and so fell, and They had to get an ambulance and everything. You know, the whole it was just a waste of time. Whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's where the whole idea springboarded from. But the story just fell out of me one day at work. I had 4 chapters before I knew it. And I thought to myself, oh, okay, so this isn't a short story. I am writing a book. And I quickly enlisted the help of some beta readers to, this is the first time I've done this, and you guys really love to read. Can you give me a hand?
And I guess they did.
Yes, they have been ever faithful. And my biggest cheering section and giving me a kick in the butt when I'm down and I'm thinking, oh man, you know, there's been lots of times in my writing I thought, okay, yep, I think I went too far there. You know, especially considering social climates and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
they're faithful to come alongside, just like a toddler with the parent, right? Oh, you're gonna fall. Okay, I got you. You're good. You're
Yeah.
good. Carry on. So now, um, I've just started a 10th book that is not related to the series,
Okay.
and my same 3 beta readers are on board, and they're just, this is good stuff. Keep going. Keep going. Give me 4 more chapters. I want to find out what happens.
Okay, that's good. Like seriously, that's a good thing. So, okay. Next question. You say that it kind of just that what goes on in in your novels just flashes into your mind. Is that all there is to it, or do you have some more, let's say, complex or intricate or involved process that when it comes to creating characters or fleshing out the world in your books?
Well, like I'm a part of the writing community on Twitter.
Yeah.
And this is where I learned these terms because I was just so green, wet behind the ears. I still have my diapers on in terms of being an author.
Okay.
And they describe 2 different types of writing styles. One is the planner, where
Yeah.
they, like you were taught in English back in high school. Okay, you have to, first of all, here's your outline. Okay, now here's your characters. And these are some of the events, and this is going to be the conclusion. And you always had to turn that in before the teacher would give you the okay, now you go write your essay. And then there's the pantsers, they call it. And we fly by the seat of our pants.
That
Because I
okay.
had
Go ahead.
all of my characters basically formed in my head, because I drew from the people I knew.
Yeah.
Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Yeah.
And I knew what they would say and do if I planned out the novel too much. And it was literally like having a voice in my head. And no, I'm not on medication. And some people argue that I should be, though. But they would say, well, what if this happened? So I'd be like, okay, let's try that. Type it out. And I could hear the characters in my head saying, okay, this is what I would do. Because it's based on that guy that I know, and I know how he would react.
Okay.
And the story just wrote itself.
That's
And I was
interesting.
just as surprised when it ended the way it ended as anybody else would be when they read the book.
The planner pantser divide is actually a little bit older than the Twitter writing community, as you might perhaps
Oh,
imagine.
now
Uh,
I've found that out.
for example, George R. R. Martin mentioned that there are two different kinds of writers. One's a gardener, one's an architect. The architect, figures everything out and then fills in the blanks, and the gardener just has like the bit of flowers, and then the flowers just, spring out. Whatever
Yes,
happens,
exactly.
happens.
That's a much more eloquent way of wording that. He must be a better author than me.
Yeah. Anyway, moving ahead. Well, given you mentioned that that your writing consists of a lot of improvisation, if I'm to be artistic with my language, I have to ask: are there any deleted scenes from any of your books?
Under the advice of my beta readers, they're like, no, don't put that in, or don't word it like that
Okay.
because of this, one of a myriad of reasons.
Okay.
You know, I thought of going down, and this is something I did on my own. I came to this conclusion on my own because, there's going to be some scenes where there might be some sexual content. And
Okay.
it's how do you word that? So, I didn't want to, just be vulgar and in your face. So what I thought, and I didn't want to go all 50 Shades of Gray.
Okay. Go
So
ahead.
what I did was I adopted the 1950s style of movie making.
Oh, so
They
it's just
kissed,
kissing and then
the
fade to
bedroom
black, and
door,
then yeah.
the kiss, the bedroom door closes, and they wake up the next day and they're exhausted or they're feeling great or whatever, and I just let you fill in the gaps.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Perhaps the flip side of that. Is there any scene that you initially didn't want to include, but then decided, you know what, this actually fits here?
That happened in my current book. I
Okay.
Between chapters 9 and 12, that group of four that I sent, I gave a big trigger warning,
Yeah.
whoop whoop, flashing lights. I'm not sure about this. I think I'm going off the rails a little bit here, and I need you guys to take a big stick and whack me and bring me back in line if you think so too. And every one of my beta readers said, "What? You mean this part here? No, that's essential. You need that in there." And he said, and they told me it's not as graphic as you think. Well, of course, I'm writing it and I'm trying to, I can picture it in my head and I'm just, oh, careful which words you use, but I still see that scene in my head.
Yeah.
So when somebody else reads it, they don't see everything I saw. So fortunately, it worked out because I was just going to go, just toss it and start again.
Okay. That's good. So now going a little bit further from individual scenes to the process itself. Is there any
Mm.
aspect of the writing process that you dread, for example?
Dread?
Yeah. So you know that something is coming up, and you're like, oh, I do not want to do this.
Yeah. Well, two things.
Okay.
There's two that I dread. One, the number one thing is editing.
Yeah. Okay.
Man,
You and every other
it's
author, to be honest.
it's it's painful. That's one thing we all got in common, I think. It's it's just agony.
Okay.
The second thing is because of the way I write, I'm just as surprised when everybody else is when they read it because I didn't see this coming. And then all of a sudden, this person that I've been writing about for 5 books, no, they're gonna die this chapter. And it's like,
Oh.
no, I like this guy, or I like this girl, or I like this character. And like that happened in book 5 or 6 of the Mind's Eye Memory series. One of the beloved characters gets killed. And my beta readers, every single one of them wrote back to me, how could you? How dare you? He just finally found love for the first time, and you killed him. You did. They were livid. I was like, oh, okay, all right. But they never said take it out of the book, so I guess it worked.
Oh, that is just precious. Okay. The flip side of that question. Is there anything that when you know it's about to come up, you go, yes, I'm finally doing this again?
Oh yeah. I really like okay, in the Mind's Eye Memory series,
Yeah.
because I had two characters that were buds. Like they were just like this since childhood, right?
Yeah.
So they had their own lingo. They had their own way of talking, and they would play. And I actually play this game with a friend of mine, and we've been friends for over 20 years. So you can see how the real life and the story combines.
Yeah.
We play a thing called the logic game,
Okay.
and it's a rapid fire back and forth. We'll just be doing anything, and one of us will absent-mindedly make a statement. You know,
Okay.
this, and the other person will go, yeah, but what about this? That does then if this is true, then that doesn't support your argument. Well, then what about? And we try to out logic each other to to build the most logical argument to support. It's a little debate,
Yeah.
but we build these logic trees or logic buildings against each other, and whoever ends up putting on the last piece and the other person can't rebut, it's like the other person, like in the Mindside Memory book series,
Yeah.
the other person, the the dialogue is like, okay, point taken. So I loved writing those dialogues,
Yeah.
and anytime I could interject my own style of humor because it's a little weird sometimes.
Okay, that's cool. I have to say I'm feeling a little bit inspired. I might add the Mind's Eye to my TBR. To be
Oh,
honest. Okay.
that'd be great.
Yeah. So I know your books are available on Amazon. Are they available in others in other ways as well?
Well, because I went through the KDP
Okay.
application on Amazon, and one of the things about that is only they are allowed to carry your books online. I don't know. Maybe it's different in other countries through Amazon, but in Canada,
Okay.
that's the stipulation. You can't put it on other platforms.
Mm-hmm.
But I can buy books at author prices and sell them at consignment through local bookstores.
Okay. Hmm. I'll have to check for the terms and conditions, TBH. Yeah, because my own books might benefit from that,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll especially benefit from me not breaking a law.
Well, that too. The reason why I went that route because when I was first writing I had my first book and I was trying to edit it, and of course, the first time I've done this, so you make all the mistakes that can possibly be made, and
Yeah.
some of them you make two or three times in the whole process.
Yeah.
So I had a few friends that said, you should publish it. So I looked into publishing it, and it can be
Yeah.
pretty expensive if you want the quality you want. So I looked up Amazon and I heard somebody say, well, you can publish on Amazon for free. Really? Well, I thought, okay, yeah, Kindle. Yeah, but the way they do it on Amazon through KDP is you submit the manuscript, you design the cover, you write the back of the book blurb, your little author with your picture blurb, and you put it all together, and they tell you, okay, to print your book, it will cost this much in paperback or in hardcover. Okay, so, and then you work out, you have two options, I think it is, of what type of a percentage split you want with Amazon. And then that gives you a base price to
Okay.
be able to go, okay, this much. So you, you set your price just a little bit higher. And I don't have to pay for printing costs. I don't have to pay for distributing. I don't have to pay to mail it. I don't have to pay to advertise. And when you're first starting out and you don't know anything, it's a good way to get your book out. And my justification to them when they finally said, yeah, well, why don't you just do it yourself? And I said to them, if the book is good enough, it'll make me enough money that I can do that. And if it's not, I'm not out of pocket then.
Okay. Good to know. Was did you intend to go through the traditional publishing route at any point, or was it?
Well, yeah, I didn't know that Kindle even existed. So when I started examining, how much it would cost to get the quality that I wanted, it was like, do I really believe in myself that much? Like $10,000 worth, and you might
Yeah.
not get the money back, kind of thing. So,
Yeah. Okay. Where was I? Kind of got lost in my questions a little bit. Okay. Uh, Now we already talked about your publishing process.
yeah,
Did you have any? Did you have any preconceived notions about what it would be like? And if yes, have they been proven true?
I had the gut feeling it was going to be difficult.
Okay.
And yeah, the learning curve for me it wasn't a curve, it was just like liftoff,
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot to learn at the beginning, but if you if you just knuckle down, decide you're going to do it, like so many things in life, we just have to, okay, this isn't going to be fun, but it'll take X amount of hours and then I can be free of ever doing that again. It's like going to school,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I explained to my son, he hated school. And I was like, well, yeah, I understand. I did too. But you know what? Once you're done with it, you're done with it. If you want to go back and pursue things that you are interested in and enjoy, then it's your choice. But this is something you just got to slog through and get through it, and then it's behind you.
Okay.
So the learning, the publishing gamut, that whole thing is one of those things if you want to be an author, and or unless you can just pay somebody to do it all for you.
Yeah, but let's be honest, who's that rich?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
there are a few people, but yeah, they are a few.
About
Uh,
that many.
yeah. Okay. Next question. Given a lot of your books are already out, and you've had reactions from people outside of your beta reading circle, uh, what were those initial reactions like?
Shocking. They were shocking reactions to me.
Okay.
Um, I'm the youngest of six. Okay,
Yeah.
the youngest of six kids, and I always followed in my mom and dad's footsteps or one of my siblings' footsteps because they'd already done this. I was interested in that, and I would just make all the same decisions they did, and then until I got to a wrong decision, I'd be like, okay, change that. And I led a really, I led a life that I wasn't forced to learn through the school of hard knocks. I learned from other people's mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm the first author in my family. So the whole experience of doing something that nobody else had done, so I'm forging my own path for the first time in my life in my 50s.
Yeah.
And people come up to me that aren't my beta readers. Like I've got a couple of people at work who are reading my books, and they'll message me or they'll talk to me at work, and they're like, okay, well, the first guy, he read it on Kindle, and he's like, Eric, come here. Yeah, what's up? He goes, I didn't know you had it in you. And I'm like, that's kind of a backhanded compliment, man. And he goes, no, 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 no. Like I knew you were intelligent, but I didn't think you were like this. This is this is this is really, you surprised me because you know how to write. And that was the first time I felt like somebody hit me between the eyes with a ball peen hammer. I was stunned. And for the first time in my life, I didn't have a response.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I just keep getting these comments and they're coming in, and I'm like, well, I make sure I hang around with my friend of 20 years and I give him the pin. And I say, pop the ego. Don't let me get too big for my britches. Quick. because I know the pitfalls there. So
Okay. Um, Next question. How many of how many of the people you would consider close know about your writing endeavors? So you already mentioned people at work, your beta reader circle. I
yeah.
assume your the the already mentioned friend knows about these, but aside from them, who else knows?
Well, when I first started writing, I told two people
Okay.
outside my beta readers. So I had my three beta readers, and I told two people. I told my brother and my friend.
Okay.
Now, um, the only people that don't know are the people that I haven't met yet. It just word got around, and I didn't have to spread it.
Oh.
I guess I picked the right people.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. What can I say? Uh, Now,
That was a harrowing experience. So
yeah, I gotta say. Now, you've talked about your experiences so far, and I have to ask regarding your 10th book. Um, I assume you will do some things differently from what you did with the Mind's Eye series. Would you like to elaborate on that?
well, first of all, it's a different subject matter.
Okay.
Different subject matter completely. Um, in the Mind's Eye Memories series, it's based on a really close knit friendship community where in the in the beginning of the book, it's three guys: the main character, his friend, and the main character's son,
Okay.
and they are just they've got each other's back no matter what. And then the friend gets a girlfriend,
Yeah.
and she's slowly brought in. It's like, okay, you're good people. You're good people. Okay, you're good people. Okay, now, okay, you're okay. You're one of us. And this friends group just starts bringing in people to build a safe community where, well, it's one of the quotes in the books, one in all of the 9 books, where they will they breed a friendship and an acceptance, and that pushes them to self-sacrifice to even the point of laying down in traffic for each other. So that's what that's about.
Okay.
This book, there are no close friends. It's three different situations trying to figure out the different of the same problem, but they don't know about each other.
Uh-huh. I assume they are working to address the same issue independently. Like, so, for example, they are
Yes,
like, so for example, they are. I'm not saying this is the case, but they are, for example, co-workers at a factory who all try to plug the same leak.
I can tell you what it's about because it'll be written on the back of the book when I'm done.
Okay.
There's a crime, there's been a murder, but it's a very specific kind, and the markers of the murder,
Okay.
i.e., the wounds, how it was committed, et cetera, point to possible occultic activities. So we've got the cop's point of view.
Okay.
Then we've got this guy who he recognizes more than the cop does. The cop will piece it together, but only to a certain point and only to a level of a certain understanding.
Okay.
This other guy sees it, and he's a part of this other group that fights against this occult.
Okay.
So he calls a meeting over here, and they're like, "Oh God, not this again!" And and they're going around, and they're orbiting the
Yeah.
sun, 3 different planets, and eventually their paths will cross, but they haven't yet.
Okay. I have to ask too. This isn't part of my typical questions. This is one I've I've cooked up specially for you as you were talking.
Okay.
And the question is, and namely, I'm bringing your whole life's work under one thread. Have you were some of the songs you wrote for your for your band in any way similar, or did they approach similar topics, similar themes?
Oh, yeah. I think, yeah, actually, good question. You're pointing that out to me now, and it's like, oh, that song refers to that part of the book, and it tells everything in the book that I couldn't put in the song because the song had to be so short. You know, the typical songs that a band would write: "Love Lost," "Love Found." Um, you're angry about this, or you're celebrating because of that. You know, some basic themes, right? Yeah, and I touch on all of those types of emotional situations, and
Okay.
I give my perspective on the emotions that I went through as I draw on them to write the scenario.
Okay. We're I have to admit we're almost done here. Before I close out, there are a few things there are a few things to say in closing.
Okay,
Of the questions I asked you, uh, you know, while filming this video, is there any you would want me to answer? So from the questions I've asked, you can ask me one of those.
okay. Does this count if I ask you if you're an author? Because I got that hint.
Well, yeah, I am.
Okay, okay.
I'm
So,
At the time of this
are
video's
you,
release, my second book will be available for pre-order.
oh, sweet.
Yeah,
Okay. Are you a gardener or an architect?
architect.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, Moving ahead, is there any link or platform you'd like to shout out before we close out?
Well, there's the link up for Amazon
Okay.
that I gave you before this.
Yeah.
That's the link that will show you all 9 books in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover.
It'll be in the
Um,
description.
yeah, and I also have a Facebook page. It's just called Mind's Eye Memories, and where I'll release things. I'll get like the computer can play back,
Yeah.
through an editing software. It can read the text aloud. So oftentimes I will a chapter that I really like, but it doesn't give away anything because it just hints. And I love those leaving cliffhangers at the end of every chapter.
Yeah.
Um, I'll just record the computer reading my text, and I'll put it on that Facebook page and just say, just to whet the appetite. If you're curious. So, and I show, that I release, on there as well as on Twitter, where oh, this book's out. This book's out.
Yeah. Uh, Anything from your band? Uh, Anywhere where people can find you, assuming
Oh,
it still has an
no,
internet presence?
no. Just like every band, it breaks up. That was years ago now.
Oh well, stuff happens.
It's
Anyway,
life.
yeah. And yeah, I'm gonna say I'm now through the questions. So I have to say thank you for accepting my invite.
No, 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 no. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome. I'm glad to have had you here, and thank you to everyone who has watched this video, or at least watched, and especially if you've watched so far. Uh, so yeah, thank you. If you've also enjoyed what it is that you've seen, well then go ahead and leave a like. Maybe even share this video wherever you think other people will like it as well. If you have anything you'd like to add about me, about my questions, about my guests, about my guests' books, well, or anything else, like that, there's a reason there's a comment section. Go ahead and go crazy, say whatever you want in there. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. Ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. My guests will also have some links in the description down below. I suggest you also check those out if you'd be interested. My other links will also be down there as well, just in case you're curious. Among them, a master link for my to my debut novel, Heir to the Empire: The Next Generation. And as I said, my my the sequel will also be available for pre-order. Link will most likely also be in the description. Alternatively, you can also support me on Patreon, where you'll also get various perks such as early access to my videos and my scripts, both for this channel and my second channel, because yes, I also have a second channel. And yeah, that was it. Until next time, I am Jonathan Taylor, and this has been the Heir's Lair.